Hey, this is Jack from Alpha Charts with a stocks to watch video made specially for my SuperFollow group. This week, the week of Thanksgiving, I've decided to give away my SuperFollow for free to everybody. 1 week free view of the SuperFollow, so you get access to this particular video. It's a little bit different than my normal stocks to watch video. And I think you're going to see how I do it here. What I do, I'll tell you real fast, is we go index, we go to sector, then we look at the strongest sector, then we look at the strongest names within the sector, and I try to keep it between 3 and 5 names because I'm looking for the strongest of the strong. So it's a very targeted, focused list. This is not, this obviously this video is for informational purposes only, not recommendations to buy or sell any stock security. And so, but what this does is you find the one that calls to you, that speaks to you, the chart that says this is the right chart for me, and then you make the trade your own. So let's get started with this video. Starting with the index level, SPX. Here we go. So as you can see, the S&P still below the 200-day, and again, it may, so back up for a second. The indexes may have some resistance here, may show some resistance here, may show some resistance here. Don't think that things are going straight up. Now, that being said, things are getting much more constructive under the surface. Breadth is expanding, VIX is low, credit spreads are tightening. Things are looking good. But don't expect things to go straight up. Expect there to be wobbles, shakeouts along the way, pullbacks, even week-long pullbacks, right? So just be careful. Don't, have your plan and then stick to your plan. Don't let your emotions take you out of your game. Your plan is your plan. It's black and white, right? This is what we do in these situations. That being said, SPX, again, may have some pullback this week. I wouldn't be shocked for that, but it should be within the context of this uptrend right here. I think 3920-ish would definitely have to hold. That would be, for sure. 3900 even, the 23-day EMA, but strong uptrends wouldn't even breach the 9-day, right? So this is the area that we're looking for. All right. Obviously, Qs being the weakest of the bunch, which we talked about yesterday in the state of the market. Again, expect pullbacks along the way. But again, this 280 area right there should not be breached, right? If we close below 280, things are a little bit more dicey, right? And really, 284, 285, ideally. So, but we have a lot of good names. So let's get into the indexes, okay? So what I did notice was a lot of these sectors look very similar. And again, I posted something like this on Twitter not too long ago. XLP looks like XLI, right? They look basically exactly the same, right? XLV, is that in this? This has the double bottom. I didn't draw it in here, but you got one bottom there, and you got another bottom here, right? That's a double bottom. Let me take this out. I don't think we need that, right? Double bottom there, and XLV. XLB looks exactly the same, right? Exactly the same. XLF, exactly the same, right? So we're seeing a lot of these charts with these beautiful looking bases that are starting to break out. So let's rewind it, go back to XLP, and look at what sector is looking the best. And for me, okay, and before we get started, so I work full-time. A lot of y'all work full-time. Maybe individual stock names aren't the best idea sometimes. Sometimes going with the ETF, which may move a little bit slower, but gives you a little broader exposure to a leading sector, and is a little bit more, a little bit less worry and risk in it. Okay. Speaking of which, we have a lot of earnings coming out this week. If you're an ETF, you don't care so much about an individual earning because the ETF itself, kind of takes care of that for you because it won't all be on the same day. All right. So XLP, you know what? If this breaks out, you want to be in the sector, great. you know what? Within that sector, PBJ, which is a dynamic food and beverage ETF. Again, this looks great. It has a very similar look to XLP, and some great names within this one. If this one breaks out and you just say, I want to be in PBJ and I want to be in, in the food and beverage ETF, that's great. Within some names within the group, I like Archer Daniels. Looks fantastic. What a great looking chart right here. This breaks out. Very easy to manage risk at this point. Good accumulation coming in. Archer Daniels looks awesome. MNST, Monster Energy. You have this big area right here. It already broke out. Big breakout right there. Came back. Now, this is extended for me. So I would tell you, if you can, if it comes back and retests or it even just tags that 9-day EMA, right? Especially, early in the week, if we get the pullback that is possible, comes back, retest that $100 level, that would be the place to manage risk against, right? So if you like Monster Energy, which is, again, a strong looking name, that is the place. If we get in on the pullback, and then our risk is very, very little. I like to manage risk against the 23-day EMA. Again, so if you're in at 100 and 23 days at 98 or so, you have about a 2% risk in there, right? That's pretty good. And the last one in this group is Celsius. I know a lot of you are familiar with this particular product. And so you've had some wobbly price action in here, and then late last week you had some nice move higher. All right. It's too extended for me here, but I'd like to see it tighten up a little bit. It could wobble around, but within a tight range, maybe some inside days if the market pulls back. Let these moving averages catch up and get this 50-day that's starting to turn up again. And so that'd be very, very bullish. Again, a nice little pullback, maybe into that 9-day, and then use your 23-day as your particular stop. That would be how I would play this one if I was be involved with it. So there's 3 names within the staples sector. And speaking of which, I'm talking staples here today, right? So a lot of what we're seeing are, we'll call it more on the defensive side of the spectrum. And so I think it's really important that, because they're showing relative strength, there's no reason not to be involved with them. Now, I try to go for growth names like Celsius. Technically, it's in the staples sector, but to me, it's a growth name. So I'm trying to marry the two together to give us growthy names, because they're going to move a little bit faster, but also in the sectors that are just the strongest. Okay. The next one is going to be industrials. Like we talked about, it has this beautiful double bottom, started to break out. Maybe extended, maybe it needs to come back and retest that 100 level. So again, watch for early weakness, maybe early in the week, maybe not, who knows. But yeah, that's what I'm looking for. So within it, I like ITA. This is the Aerospace and Defense ETF, and it is a if you go back to 2020, it's had this area, which has been resistance, 1, 2, false breakout there, and then look what happened, 3, 4, at least 5 times, and you probably could count maybe a few more in there that were pretty close. But now zooming in, we're starting to see, it come back and test this area. If we get above, that would be extremely bullish. And again, you just buy the ITA and be done with it, right? A lot of good names, big cap names in there, like Boeing and Northrop Grumman and stuff like that, if that's your thing. Within the industrials, not necessarily all ITA names, but within the industrials, we like AXON. Again, that is in ITA. Fantastic looking name right here. And actually, I can move this up here like this and do something like that if I wanted to. Is it extended? Absolutely. But that's a very, very strong move up. Good volume that came in, and now it's moving sideways. And if we zoom in, we're starting to see some very tight price action. So yeah, I mean, maybe it's a little extended, maybe needs a little more time. But again, if it breaks out, you can manage risk against this area right here, this green area, right? Or you can just wait and see if it consolidates more and then manage risk as it tightens up even further and goes sideways. Your choice. That's AXON, FLR. Floor Corporation, big move higher, right? And now it's just kind of consolidating. Watch how volume is decreasing. Again, this was Thanksgiving week, so take that into account. But that being said, it was, again, a nice move higher, beautiful flag, and now it's starting to break out of that flag. Again, low volume, but that was a half day of trading, right? So again, looks really good. Make the trade your own if this is it. Know how you're going to manage risk. You have less than 10%, maybe right on about 5%, right? 5.5%. If that's to the 23-day, so that's easy. You can manage risk against this $33, whatever you're into. But again, I love the way this flag looks. And the last one is TH. All right, this is Target Hospitality. We had this big move up on gigantic volume, right? This is not me and you buying. This is hedge funds and institutional buying right here, right? This is what it normally does, and this is what it did, right? It's huge. So somebody got involved back in July, and then it's kind of gotten sideways, right? No big deal. And now what are we seeing? We're starting to see after earnings, we're starting to see that that volume is ticking up again, right? As it's coming into here, we actually have fairly tight moving averages. Price is right at the 9-day, so it's a great looking setup. You got to figure that it's only roughly 6% to the 23-day. So if it holds this, this 9-day, that would be very, very nice. And this 50-day is going to be moving higher. Let's just see how many that is. It's 88 bars. 50 bars would be right here, right? So this week, as we get rid of this data, and if this consolidates a little bit more or starts to move out, this 50-day should start to move higher. Again, a very bullish looking chart. Love the way the volume looks on it. So again, if this is for you, go for it. Healthcare, XLV, right? Healthcare looks very good as well. Has that double bottom look like we talked about. Already moved higher. Again, it's a little extended, may need to pull back a little bit. But my favorite chart within there is by far IBB. My SuperFollows are already in this one and have been in this one, but I think that this rounding bottom looks absolutely perfect. It's kind of flagging out here. Here comes your 9-day. Here comes your 23-day. You got the bullish cross. Lots of volume coming in. Bullish looking volume coming in. On this pullback, I know it was a holiday week, but it's still decreased volume for the most part. Everything is lining up for this one. Will it work? I don't know, but I like the risk reward, and that's more important, right? You're looking at roughly a 2% risk where the 23-day is right now. So as long as it holds the 23-day, we're good to go right here. And it hasn't even tapped it, since it kind of started its upward move at the beginning of October. So it's been over a month since it's even tapped the 23-day on this bullish run. We'll see if this continues or not, or if it needs, another pullback, right? Which is very, very possible. And maybe it pulls back to the 50-day. Either way, I love the way the space is looking. And if the markets are going to move higher, biotechs potentially are a leader. A very symmetrical looking base too, which is very nice. Within the biotechs, there's a few names I like. AMGN. Right? Here's Amgen. Beautiful looking flag, right? If it breaks out the flag, why not? Right? That looks really good. 23 days is catching up. Again, if maybe it comes back, maybe it closes the gap, right? Maybe there's a pullback this week. It closes the gap, tags the 23-day, and you can manage a very tight risk right there, right? If it gets down to like 277 or 280 or something of that nature, but that looks really good. GMAB, again, already broke out, moving higher. It may need that pullback. This to me looks like it may be a toppy looking. So watch for that pullback, let it do some consolidation, and then maybe it needs to come higher, right? But just keep this one on your radar. And SRPT is another one. Big move up, lots of nice volume coming in, right? And now it's again, I love this low volume on each of these pullback. And after earnings, it did drop out 7%, 7.5%, but it came right back, and everything is setting up again. Now look at all these wicks, right? So it has to get above this one. It has to close, above 116, 117 for me to be really interested in this name, because you see sellers keep coming in at that point, and so I want to see it above this 117 level. For me, I already bought IBB. I feel like there's too much risk in individual names, but that's my risk tolerance, right? That's my risk tolerance. So you guys do what's right for you. Next up is going to be energy, right? Energy's taking a breather, and let's go to the weekly chart of energy. I've shown this many times, and you can see, going to the weekly chart, this area, which is back from 2008 and 2014 and 2022, again 2022, we keep hitting this area and it keeps reversing. We're back in that area, back in this, so if it can close above, I don't know, 93.5, 94, something like that, I'm super bullish on energy at that point, right? If it can close, if it falls apart here, less bullish on energy. But again, if it breaks out, you just buy the XLE and put it to bed and be done with it. Within the XLE, I like IXC. That looks really, really good. Let me get rid of this. IXC, again, you buy the breakout and just, stock it away in a Roth IRA or something like that, or your trading account, whatever you want. But IXC, which is a global energy ETF, looks very, very nice and had this consolidation. You see here where the buyers showed up right there, on the fake news from OPEC. Anyway, I'm bitter because I was in this one at the time. Anyway, so if this breaks out, though, no reason not to be involved in energy, right? That's a breakout. That looks fantastic. I also like XOP here. So there's two ETFs for you that look pretty good. Again, this is a big, big area where there could be some sellers showing up, but overall, looks really nice. Again, we want to see this kind of break out, break higher, and not break down. Could you be involved right here using a tight stop, maybe at the 50-day? You could. That'd be your choice. But I'd want to see some confirmation personally for me. So there's two ETFs in the energy space that look good. I kind of like IXC better, just like this, this format a little bit better, but that's just me. Within the energy space, WFRD already broke out, came back, retested, held, and now is moving sideways. So this one looks really good. ACDC, love the ticker. Newer name, ProFrac Holding. And you know what? Broke out from this IPO base, came back, retested, and now is trying to, just kind of consolidate its gains and move higher. Looks fantastic. And then CEIX, a coal name, right? So here's a coal name that moved higher. Now is just kind of, drifting lower within a consolidation. There's your rising 200-day that's kind of coming up to meet it. Let the chart reset a little bit, basically. And you kind of see it held this area very nicely, like really nicely. So love the way this is consolidating, has that kind of inverse head and shoulders, just a base, whatever you want to call it. But it's starting to get very, very constructive with good volumes showing up right here. So if this breaks out, everything looks pretty good in this particular one as well. There you go. 3 energy names. Again, if you like the ETFs, go with the ETFs. If you like the sector, grab the sector. Next up, XLB. Right? XLB breaking out, looks really, really good. Within there, I like steel. Steel names already broke out of its double bottom. Looks like it wants higher, right? Within the steel sector, STLD, right? Beautiful, break out of the inverse head and shoulder, good volume coming in, little cup and handle. Now moved out of that. Again, it may be a little extended, but know your where your risk is. Maybe it needs to come back in a little bit, maybe retest this area of $100 or so. And maybe that's where you want to, get involved. Maybe just tags the 9-day at 102. But again, make the trade your own. X, which is United States steel. So this one, again, hasn't broken out yet. So again, maybe he needs to just make a little handle here. Maybe tag the 200-day, which is the red. And then that's where you want to be involved, right? But again, make the trade your own. CMC. So this one broke out already. Good accumulation volume coming in, just kind of moving higher. Again, a little loose in here, a little loose, but overall not too shabby. Maybe it needs to come back or consolidate, tighten up a little bit, let the moving average catch up, and then that may give you a great entry again, but great accumulation going on in this name. All right, looking at financials. Again, love the double bottom. Maybe you just want to buy XLF and call it a day, right? But within XLF, I like IAI, which is the broker dealers. Again, already broke out, retested, looking to move higher. I also like KIE, the insurance ETF. Very similar look to it, kind of broke out and moving higher. Okay. Some names within there: IBKR, Interactive Broker. Again, going back to 2018, this was important area, right? And then let's go and drill in to current. You have a dividend coming up. But again, if this can break out above 80-ish or so, this has a very easy place to manage risk against. ACGL. This is Arch Capital Group. Beautiful spike, right? I mean, that's just gigantic on the volume. It's probably the highest volume ever. Looks like it. Looks like the highest volume ever. So that's gigantic. And it's holding very well. This one, obviously, if it breaks out above here, that'd be very good. Maybe again, look how it kind of held its 9-day very nicely. The 23 days catching up. So this one again, maybe if you get a pullback and tags at 9-day, maybe that's where you enter and use your 23 days as a stop. Fantastic looking name, ACGL. TRV, Travelers. Is another insurance name. Let's go ahead and just look at this. Okay, nice, beautiful base. There's your consolidation. Now starting to move higher, right? So we can manage risk against this green area. You can manage risk against 185. You can manage risk against that 9-day if you wanted to. You do against the 23-day, which was important back here, right? Whatever your risk tolerances is, that 23-day makes a lot of sense and gives you the room to avoid any kind of potential shakeouts. So that's why I like the 23-day. But again, make the trade your own. XLK is next. All right, so there's actually, it's funny, XLK below a declining 200-day, 50 days just flat, nothing special there, right? You saw this declining, lower highs and lower lows, but under the surface, I am noticing a ton of things setting up. One of the strongest groups is solar, TAN. So again, love the way this looks. Tons of accumulation going on. If you think this one is, going higher, which I do personally, why don't you buy just TAN and be done with it? Or there's some individual names that look absolutely wonderful. First one is ARRY, ARRY. Here's your IPO. Here's your VWAP from the IPO. Price is back above it, right? 200-day is going up. Very defined risk area. Is it extended? Absolutely. Do I want to buy it right here? I don't. If this comes back and tags the 9-day at around 21, we'll call it 2150-ish, would I be a buyer? Probably would be a buyer, right? This one looks absolutely fantastic. FSLR. This is one I'm already in for my SuperFollow group. It's moved higher. It's doing very, very well. Lots of accumulation going on here. So we're in this one from, a lower price. So it shows here 146 to 150-ish was the area. So the breakout, obviously. I'm sorry, it was on the retest, I believe. But either way, 1113, where are we at here? I'm going to show you guys where we got involved. All right, so yeah, so it was here. is right where it was tagging the 9-day again. Again, I love that it was within a reasonable reward to risk area to the 23-day. So that's where we got involved with it, and it's basically shot up ever since. Nice trade for us. But I think if this can consolidate or move sideways, it sets up again a very strong looking name, ENPH. This one hasn't broken out yet. So this one was the leader. Maybe it'll be the leader again. Hasn't broken out, so it's taking a rest. But again, nice setup and a very easy place to manage risk against. SHLS. Big ups, then kind of sideways, great volume. Had this nice little inverse head and shoulders, came back. We'll call this a successful retest. Made another inverse head and shoulders here, right? How funny is that? And then now it jumped up on earnings, right? And so we can wait for this, maybe a little more consolidation. Maybe the group needs to come back a little bit and just consolidate as a group and let all these moving averages catch up. But Shoals looks very good. And the last one in this group is MAXN. Again, this one hasn't broken out yet, but looks very, very strong. Good accumulation volume overall coming in. Already at earnings. And again, maybe it needs to just kind of consolidate a little bit here, let the moving averages catch up, and then this would be a very, very strong looking name, kind of cup and handle-ish in nature. All right. So there you go. There was 5 names in solar that look good. Again, maybe a little extended. So make the know your risk tolerance. Semiconductors. So there's a bunch of semiconductor names that are starting to look good. Is this going to be an inverse head and shoulders? I don't know, maybe, but it's right there at the 200-day. Again, so may need to consolidate a little bit more, break above. Maybe it finds resistance at 244, 245. Maybe it just comes back and then, breaks out there. But who's leading the sector, right? SMH. I think AEHR is. Tons of accumulation volume going on in this particular name. Beautiful base, a little bit extended. Wait for the pullback. Maybe it's a 9-day. To me, it looks like the 23-day is, it'll tend to violate that 9-day. It'll come back and hit the 23-day, so far. So maybe it needs to come back and hit $23, right? That'd be okay. And then you can manage risk fairly tightly at that point. But beautiful looking base going on there. Great accumulation. MTSI. This is Macom Technology. And you can see this great little flag that it is producing right here, right? Overall looks really good. Again, making the right side of its base. I can probably do something like this, right? So that's a nice little move up here. And then, you could sell up here, wait for, again, another pullback, and then potentially a breakout, and then you can add back into your position at that point. So again, we're about halfway there. From here to here is 15%, not bad. Then you can wait for the pullback, and then you can potentially add back to it and making some money, right? That's MTSI. What else? GFS. This one already kind of broke out, and it may need a pullback, like I kind of indicated here. Again, still kind of extended. A little too much space there. Wait for the pullback. If it comes back to $64, $65, that'd be a great place to manage risk against, right? So that's what I'd be looking for. 64, 65. RMBS, Rambus. Again, another beautiful flag. Very big move. Too much space, though. It needs a little bit of time, right? Especially watching SMH that's interacting with this 200-day. Why would we not, and look how extended this is, why would we not expect this to pull back and the sector to pull back some? So I'm not saying go out and buy Rambus tomorrow, but if it does pull back in an organized fashion on low volume, that could be something to watch. Last one here is ALGM. This one, again, looks very, very good. Just straight up, though, needs a pullback maybe to, this $30 level, right? Maybe this pulls back to 30, lets all these moving averages catch up, but great volume showing up in this one. So that looks really good. And last one, I didn't actually write this down. What is it's Lattice Semiconductors. Where are you, Lattice Semiconductors? Did I spell it wrong? Sorry. Lattice. I don't know. All right, Lattice Semiconductors. I can't remember what the ticker is. I'm going to go into here real fast and see if I can find it real fast here. Let's see if I can find it for you. Lattice. Maybe it's LATT. Yeah, there it is. LSCC is the name. Thanks for bearing with me on that. I'm going to write this one down. It's another one I've been watching. I'm not sure why I didn't write it on this particular watch list, but I love this name as well. And would love to see it kind of come back a little bit, right? Retest the breakout and then move higher again. And we can maybe buy it at the $66 level. And as the 23 moves up, the 9-day kind of, chills out a little bit. We have a very easy place to manage risk against and very low risk, high reward type of situation if semis are moving higher. So I just want to add that one too. So that's 2, 4. That was 6 names in the semiconductors. Again, wait for the pullbacks, I think, but they all look pretty good. 2 more sectors. We have communication, technology communication type names. So things like Pi, right? It's a name I'm in currently, as you can see. My SuperFollows are in this particular name too. Very strong move back here off of earnings, and it broke out. And now it's kind of consolidating up here. Letting the moving averages catch up. It may come back and retest this area. We'll call it 118-ish. If it does, it gives you another chance to come into it, to add to it with the 23-day again as the guide, right? Love how this 23-day looks. We have EXTR, Extreme Networks. Again, it's a lot of these names are extended. Wait for the pullback. Maybe it comes down to $18 or $19, and maybe tags to 23-day. But look how strong this is. It just kind of rides that 9-day up. Shows, the strongest names don't even get back to the 23 days. Great accumulation too in this particular name. HLIT, super strong name. I remember launching up here. Off of earnings, it did give 10% back and kind of fell a bunch. 50-day held it, and now it's starting to move back up again. So it may need a little bit of consolidation here. And obviously, looking at the price action, I'd want this one maybe to consolidate and maybe consider using the 50-day as my initial stop until things look a little stronger. Just because we saw that the 50-day held back here. And so price action dictates 50-day is a good stop. So something to consider. That was HLIT. And the last one's SATX, a newer name. You all may not be familiar with this one, but making its IPO base, cup and handle-ish, right, overall. If it can, I don't know, probably I would say kind of break this general trend line down, you could potentially, get above this 2672-ish area in the trend line. That would be something to consider. And then you could use the 9-day if it starts to turn up. Overall, though, very strong looking name. I don't know if I'd want it to prove itself first a little bit. It's a brand new one, obviously, but wow, it's just the volume is really what caught my eye in this one, right? If you notice, here's a 65% up day, here's a 140% up day, here's a 96% up day, right? Very, very volatile name, but as it's pulling back, it's starting to lose a lot of this volume. But again, these types of moves is institutional moves, in my opinion. And so I think, when the average is, about 500,000 shares and you're seeing volume, just gigantic. That's gotta be institutional. People just buy in right at the go. So again, if this can kind of make the U-turn, right? If this can make the U-turn and It's only been on the market for 19 days, 19 trading days. Break this general downtrend, get above the 9-day. I would then particularly use the 9-day. Just no very volatile name, because as much as you had these gigantic up days, you had 31% down day, you had a 29% down day, you had a 17% down day, 27% down day, right? 20% down day. And now we're starting to see it kind of tighten up maybe a little bit. Again, so the 9-day could be your choice. Much volatile. I would definitely position size way down if this is for you. But definitely newer name, keep it on your radar. All right, so my last one is electronic components, and SMCI is the first one in this particular name. Again, very strong, got way extended. So, if it comes back in tags this $87-ish area, which is the 9-day, that seems to be what is guiding it. Don't expect it to come back to the 23-day. But if it comes back in tags the 9-day, you may consider using that as your buy entry, right? And right now it's 8% or so away from the 23-day. So again, a little bit more of a volatile name, but a great looking name. And this one, looks like it wants higher as well, just extended right now. SANM. So this one, listen, it's starting to kind of let the moving averages catch up. It had this big, 11% pop there, moves a little higher, consolidated now, fairly tight range. Nice accumulation going on down here, right? Look at this. Right? Really like the way this looks. And I like how this is kind of in a tight range now. May need a little bit more time, but again, a very strong looking name. This is Sanmina Corporation. And the last one is Flex, FLEX. This is just, let me go to a weekly chart, because this name's been around for a while. And, you see back in, 2000, it really spiked. Kind of came back with the pullback, but really this area has been very, very strong resistance. And now zooming in, we're starting to get above that area. And here we go. Good accumulation still coming in. May end up pulling back, may end up retesting this $20 level, right? It's very, very possible. But the 23-day does seem like it's been an important area. So again, maybe it comes back to retest $20. You need to use the 23-day as your guide. But again, as long as it's above 1950, right? I think that Flex looks like a pretty good name. So there you go. That's my SuperFollows stock to watch. It's a slightly different format. I like to give you guys good ideas in all the sectors that look like they're leading. Breadth is definitely improving, because these are more sectors than I've given in a long time. And each one had some really, really good names. So you could decide whether you want to stick with the ETF, whether you want to go to individual stock names. I'm going to give you options for both and levels for both. I hope this video finds you all well and you got something out of it. Thank you if you are a super follow. I appreciate you super following me. If you're not, if you like this content, I'm on Twitter at AlphaCharts365. You can always find me there. If not, I hope you enjoyed the video and this free week of super follow content. Hope you all have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.